I guess I'll start off. So I'm Erich Hugunin. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at TextUs. I've been working in the staffing space now for 12 years. We work throughout North America as well as Western Europe and Australia. We're the largest text messaging provider to the staffing space. A little bit about us, we're based here in Boulder, Colorado. We founded in 2013. We have 50 employees. We have about 75,000 professionals using our product on a daily basis. And last month, sorry, go ahead.
So I was going to say, don't laugh.
Yeah.
What is the product? It's texting candidates as opposed to emailing or?
Yeah, so we're a texting platform. So a little background on TextUs. It's a texting platform that recruiters can use. Recruiters and support staff and HR professionals can use to text out to candidates. And so our product integrates with multiple ATSs and CRMs. And it just gives them a better platform using their desk line. We actually take the business phone number and text enable that, and that's the number they're texting out from.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, last month alone, we sent over 27 million text messages on behalf of recruiters and corporate HR specialists. So really, it's what our core focus is. And so today I'll walk through some of the challenges we've seen through COVID. And a big thing to really walk through here is, and these are kind of the main bullet points I want to talk about, is how can we increase productivity and stay connected while working remote, right? This is something we've all now shifted to is working remote. I was fortunate prior to this. Our company is about 90% remote. Being a tech company, my staff and our developers, while we do have staff here in Colorado, all of our developers and our support are here. My sales team and our marketing team, we all work remote. So it's something that I'm very familiar with, and there's a few things when we go through this. And the first bullet point there is, so what are the communication strategies that differentiate fast growth firms from slow growth firms? So some of the data I'm going to be pulling from here and talking about is from Staffing Hub. If you're not familiar, you can sign up on Staffing Hub. It's a publication specific to staffing. And there you can get details where they do an annual publication that just they surveyed out over 300 staffing professionals this year on how they're communicating out. And they did a lot around COVID and COVID communication. And the big thing they talk about is fast growth versus slow growth. How are they communicating differently? And not surprising, there's definitely a different communication strategy for both. I think some of the important things and best practices we look at from those companies that are being more productive and increasing productivity and staying connected. The first one, and this is one of the top ones, and this is a HubSpot stat, is HubSpot said if you respond to a lead in the first 5 minutes, you're 9 times more likely to close that deal. So one question I always ask everybody is, okay, well, are you texting your candidates now? Or are you chatting with them on your website now? If you're not, you're going to be missing that gap. Email on average takes 90 minutes to get a response. So the HubSpot fact said first 5 minutes when an inbound lead comes in, you should be checking in. But if you're waiting 90 minutes so it comes to an email where you actually catch up and read on your emails, well, think about this. All of us sitting in here or all of us attending this right now, we're not going to be answering phone calls. You're not going to be doing that, but you can quickly text back. Anybody can always reach out to you via text. It's the best way, fastest way to reach out. And so it's one of those things that it's a medium we're all used to using. And on average, text message is responded to in the first 90 seconds. So the 99% read rate and is responding in the first 90 seconds. So the other big way we've seen customers see success through this different time is, warm up customers with a text, warm up your clients with a text, warm up a candidate with a text. I mean, think about this. Do you call your significant others without texting them? I text my wife before I call her. I don't cold call my wife. Why on earth would I cold call a candidate I never met before? Send a quick text. Just check in. Hey, Eric with TextUs. Just checking in. Seeing if you're free to talk about some positions we have open tomorrow. Just something like that. That quick little intro text can go a long ways. And the phone call can be very disruptive. That's the other big thing about it is the whole part about communicating is communicate on the candidate's terms. Give them the ability to chat on your website. Give them the ability to chat via Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn Messenger or whatever tools it may be. Give them those mediums that they want to use, not what you as an HR professional, as a recruiter have done for your entire career, right? You may be accustomed to emails and phone calls. These are the KPIs we use at our business. This is what we do. But what does a candidate want? Younger demographics might be on Facebook Messenger or Instagram or any of those. And that's where they want to communicate, Snapchat, So you got to be able to reach out how they want to communicate to be able to get them into the positions and show that you actually care about them rather than just the position you're trying to fill. I think some of the other stuff is just making sure you personalize that outreach. That's going to be one of the biggest ones. Is all your outreach right now should be personalized to that person. One thing my staff started doing, it's a challenge we have weekly now with everything we do. We do Loom videos. Loom's Loom is a product we use. They're quick little videos. We do 30-second videos. So when we post them on LinkedIn, when we send emails, when we send text messages, LinkedIn messages, we'll send a video. Hey, Eric with TextUs, just reaching out. Now, I want to let you know, I thought this information might be important to you. The other big thing is educate, educate, educate. So in sales, right now, there's been a significant increase in email outreach. I'm sure we've all experienced it in our inboxes. HubSpot in Q2, across all HubSpot users, they saw a 75% increase in emails and a 25% decrease in response rates. So I'm sure as we've all seen that. So it's really important when you send that message to have the right content, be educating. This is not the time to hard sell. This is the time to educate. And a big part of that is sending those little videos. Send small videos. If you find something interesting or you see a strategy or hear something that's going on, post that on LinkedIn. Send that via email. Send that via text message. Those kind of things are the ones that are going to help you stay connected with people and be a thought leader. Whereas somebody who's just doing the traditional old outreach via email and phone call, why are they going to go with that recruiter? Why are they going to go with that staffing firm? They want to go with a firm that's making changes, that's getting out in front of all of this and communicating how they want to. Anybody using videos right now within your recruiting process or video interviewing? Well, try it out. Loom, like I said, is what we use. There's multiple products that are out there. Spark Hire is another great product. I did a webinar with them in Job Adder last month. It was an awesome webinar. Spark Hire is a great platform. You can actually send videos back and forth if you're asking questions. So a candidate and you can exchange back and forth via video interviews. The other big one that we focus on is using outreach, not just necessarily in a recruiting manner. So one thing at TextUs, we worked with a hospital, they're in Louisiana, called Ochsner Healthcare. And through everything, Ochsner was not using us for outreach for recruiting. They were using it for wellness checks. And we've seen a lot more of that. We've seen our volume increase almost 30% from the beginning of the year till June. So significant increase. But what's interesting is it wasn't necessarily more placements. Ochsner, what they were using it for is just a wellness check, just to check in. Hey, Melissa, Eric with TextUs, just seeing how your shifts are going this week. How are you doing? So if you're in that healthcare profession, even if you're not, if it's a warehouse person you're staffing, if it's a clerical, just check in on them. So make sure that all your texts, your outreach, your email, anything, doesn't always have to be trying to get them into a placement. Just show you're there and that you care. They're going out and working in these new places. Showing that you're there with them by just checking in like that goes a long ways. And the VP of Ochsner said that's their main reason they've used it. And it's really gone a long way with their staff in that outreach process. The next one is automation. So how many of you are using automation, whether it's workflow processes with a HubSpot or Herefish or Salesforce Process Builder? That's a big one that can really increase your productivity. Think about those menial tasks that your recruiters are doing now. What can you do to take those away so they can focus more time on engaging, on building relationships, right? As recruiters, as HR professionals, we're here to build a rapport with that candidate that's going to be coming to work for our staffing firm or coming to work for us at our office. And so if we're taking all that time to do menial tasks like follow up on credentialing or follow up on birthdays, those are things that should be automated. You should be using a platform like a Herefish or like Salesforce Process Builder or like Great Recruiters when you're doing recruiter reviews. So if you're doing reviews, right? Every time somebody completes an assignment with you or they've taken a new job, So you should be sending a survey out, just having them check in. What do they think of your recruiters? Great Recruiters is a great platform that can automate that for you. And it gives your recruiter like their own Yelp review. They're not just a staffing firm, but the actual recruiter themselves. So then you can score your recruiters compared to your other recruiters. Well, Melissa's a 5. Eric and Mark are both 4s. All the reviews, she got 5 out of 5. What are we doing differently? And so then you can kind of dive in and look at the feedback you get from those people. Additionally, a great way within automation is that you can use is staffing referrals. Staffing referrals is a partner of ours. We work closely with them. It's a referral platform. And the interesting part when you look at referrals, right? I'm sure everybody across all industries, they ask, hey, refer your friends to come work here. We do it, right? Out of my sales staff, 80% of them have been referred by a friend to come work for us, because it kind of cuts out the first few stages of your interview process, the first 1 to 3 steps. So we always say is, what I've heard from David, the CEO there, is he asks a good question. Let's think about if you're trying to place a Ruby on Rails developer in Montreal and you need them to have 5 years experience. How many of us can think of maybe more than 1, maybe 3 people, if you're in IT staffing, that would fit that off the top of our head? What if you use your social network, it's going to use LinkedIn, it's going to use Facebook, it's going to use those social networks to reach out and post that out. And that way you're expanding that. You're using a digital network for your referrals to come back in. It can automate all of that as well. Somebody completes an assignment, or they take a placement with you, or they just start a new job, have it send out a drip. Hey, thanks so much. We're so excited to have you part of the team. Sign up here for our referral program. And the big thing there is making sure you do a 2-sided referral. So referrals tend to be more successful when there's a give-give. If you all remember when Uber first blew up, it was sign up your friends, get $10, they get $10. It's no different than when you do referrals for your internal process. It's really important to got to give on both sides. Sometimes it seems hard, like why am I going to give the person referring and the other person money? But take that amount you want to get, cut in half and give it both sides, and it's much more successful, almost over 50% more successful in that outreach. The next one I think is a really crucial one, is like the processes are going to save time and increase productivity. So this is a really key one for us, right? And I think it's not just for TextUs users, it's for all users, is the ability to use templates. So my sales team, for example, we had been using Drift as our website chat. We were using a different tool for our outreach on LinkedIn, and we used another one for email. Well, we just recently went to HubSpot. We all did the HubSpot training. And within HubSpot, they talk a lot about sequences and workflows. And there's no difference in that in your different outreaches amongst your other channels, right? You should be omni-channel with your outreach. So for us, for example, we're texting those leads, we're emailing those leads, and we're chatting with those leads. But the key there to make it more productive is have templates, right? Your standard questions, your standard follow-up, all that kind of stuff. Create templates that your team can use. It's going to make it more productive, as well as it's going to standardize it across your business. So that way, your messaging is exactly what you want as a business. And so they're not saying promises that you can't fulfill. Oh yeah, come on, don't worry, you're going to get you a 10% signing bonus. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. I'll take care of that. You can standardize that outreach. How do you want to see it? What's your gold standard within your recruiting process? We created a gold standard demo. It was fun because it was our leadership team. We all met up in Vail, Colorado, pre-COVID. And we sat down, we had all of our leaders, my directors all came together, and they all had to do demos, right? And we didn't tell them ahead of time. So they got a little nervous, but they had to do a demo. We were creating our gold standard. What is the best demo we want as a team? And then we just picked out 4 or 5 bullet points of that, right? These are the 4 things that every salesperson should talk about in this. Well, it's the same thing in your outreach here. When you're doing that actionable outreach, create those 4 things you want every recruiter or every credentialer to make sure they're saying and doing through that process. And it's going to make it more actionable and more repeatable and more scalable. So by doing that with templates, with sequenced outreach, it's going to make your recruiters much more productive. It's a challenge at first, right? Because you're giving structure in a space that they may already know. They may be a 20-year recruiter, but it's going to make them more productive in the long run. Additionally, this is a funny one. When you're doing this personal outreach, there's an interesting stat. If you're reaching out via chat, LinkedIn, not so much LinkedIn, but text message or chat, you should write it on a 5th grade reading level. So think about when you converse back and forth with your friends, your significant others, and even people in business, right? When you're text messaging them, You don't text in full sentences. You don't have proper English. It's okay. You write at a 5th grade reading level because text is meant to be conversational. As soon as you make that text message, like, hello, I'm Eric with TextUs, and you just super business and direct, like make it human. That's gonna be the most important part. With so much automation out there, the disadvantage of automation is it can over automate. It can take out the human part of the process. So it's really important in your outreach to keep that personal touch, to keep that human element of all of your outreach when you're reaching out to those candidates. One of the things that we've always found to be really successful, I'm sure many of us have done this on our websites and done it through different outreach channels, whether it's email channels, but A/B test your messaging, right? And that comes down to LinkedIn messaging, Facebook messaging. What are you doing right now in your text message campaigns and your outbound? You should be doing multiple A/B tests when you're doing that outreach, and that's going to help ensure that you get that highest response rate. You know, we had one where we've always A/B tested the certain message that we send out around an annual review we have. And it's crazy is what differences you can see in the different messaging. It's no different in your text message outreach. It's no different in your LinkedIn outreach. Make sure your recruiters aren't just sending the same old message every single time. Personalize it, switch it up, throw in those videos like we talked about earlier. Those are the kind of things that are going to help really increase that productivity, is those actionable templates with that personalization. And then one of the last things is just ensuring deliverability. One of the most important things when reaching out is making sure you're working with in text message, for example, especially a compliant software. So make sure the software you're working with is fully compliant, whether it's Castle laws. If you're recruiting in the US, it might be TCPA or CTIA. It's really important that the platform you're working with is fully compliant. It's going to protect your firm. There's always, anybody can always sue for anything, but this is going to help limit your liability. So that's one of the things, is make sure you use that compliant platform when doing your outreach. Any questions there?
Okay. No, this is good. This is helpful.
All right. And the last thing is, like, what are some of the measures taken during the pandemic to help keep remote teams engaged and connected and productive? This is a big one for us. While I said we were primarily remote staff, it's been really important for us to have a few things that we always make sure we do. First one, camera on, right? Everybody's accustomed to now. We all are working from home. Our kids are going to be there, our dogs. I just recently moved. So like literally 2 hours before this, I was moving boxes out from behind me that I had stacked up, but it's okay. We're all doing that now, right? So we always really try to say is have the video on. It's one of the most important things, right? We're missing that in-person part, which we all love. At least for me, I'm 100% extroverted. So for me, in person's like excites me. But it's really important though, then how do you engage with your team? So whenever we do one-on-ones, whenever we're doing any sort of engagement, videos are on, right? We're chatting this way. It's okay if your kids by you. It's okay if you're not always wearing a button up. But the key is video on. Just get that as much of a human connection as you can. Some of the other things that we've done that we've seen success with, we use Slack for our inter-office communication. And we just turned on this new functionality they have. It's like basically called Coffee. And what it does is it randomly selects, I don't know if it might be coffee or coffee shop. It randomly selects people within your organization and connects them. And they go do a 10-minute phone call, just like if they're getting coffee together. So the idea there is like to random selection. It might be a C-suite speaking with an SDR, or a C-suite speaking with a receptionist, or maybe it's a developer speaking with somebody, a recruiter and a salesperson. What it's going to do is it randomly selects those, allow people to connect, right? And the idea there is just get your teams to engage. It's really easy right now to become siloed in your division. Well, I'm in sales. Why am I going to be talking to accounting? They just do billing. And so what happens is we get a big separation of our teams right now. We're not working as one team because we're remote, just focus on our job. And it's going to kill your culture of your company, right? Culture is everything. And that kind of plays into the next thing that we've really started. We started a culture committee. The first culture committee was just simply for fun events. We did themed happy hours. The first one we did 80s outfit. Even though some of the kids that work for us aren't in their 80s, they were never even born in the 80s, they got into it, right? And we gave out a Drizzly gift card. So a $25 gift card for whoever dressed up. It was a blast. We had like 3/4 of our company come to it, and everybody had drinks and kind of talked there. And then we've done pets, right? So everybody posted their pets and voted on their pets dressed up. just things like that are kind of fun. And then outside of that, we've recently engaged with we're creating a culture committee. Like, what is our true culture for our business, right? And that's not like your North Star, but it's what is the type of person that you want to come work there? What is the right cultural fit? And by culture, I mean, like, are they going to engage? Are they going to be excited, driven? Do they want the opportunity? Do they want the job? So just trying to give those things and say, hey, we're this type of business. We're energetic, fast-paced group, always on the go. We're very customer-centric, right? So then you can have that description about your staffing firm, about your business for them. Why do they want to come work for you versus the next person down the road? And so having that culture defined, who you are, what defines you as a business. I always tell people, I'm like, we're a Colorado company. That does not mean we smoke weed at work every day. What that means is that we're very centric around lifestyle is important to us. So we work really hard, but guess what? If there's 12 inches of snow in February, I'm taking Friday afternoon off and I'm going to go skiing. And that's okay because the rest of the week I busted my butt and I worked really hard. And so we have that mentality that, you know what, if you can work hard, it's okay to take that time to go for yourself. And I think that's one of the most important things right now. We constantly have to remind ourselves is, well, I worked remote before. Prior to COVID, I got into the gym during the day, maybe went to the grocery store, went and walked my dogs. So you're doing less of that. You know, it's easy to find ourselves now sitting down in front of our computers for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours straight with barely getting up. So one thing we've started doing as well is I do walk and talks. So with my sales team down to just our entry-level team, I do a 15-minute talk once a week, just grab a person, maybe twice a week, do a couple of them, and we just get on a phone. I'm like, get out of the office, put in your headphones, and go on a walk for 15 minutes while we talk and catch up. So that's a good idea. You know, that way the energy, the getting outside is really good for you, and it's going to really help keep them engaged. People tend to de-stress a little bit and talk more. You can kind of connect them more than when you're in front of the screen. Even though I said the videos are great, you know, I think the walk and talk lets somebody open up a little more. That's really crucial for us as businesses right now, is to be supportive of our staff. I think you can measure everything on what an organization does during hard times, right? And if what we do for our staff now, whether it's walk and talks, happy hours, like virtual happy hours, any of that stuff, forced time off. We've done extended holidays on recent holidays here. We make people take a 4-day weekend. If I see you logged into Slack, you'll be reprimanded. Do not work on Friday. So do more forced time off. We're not getting those vacations we all got before, that time we need for ourselves to re-energize. So, you know, while it's hard to tell your staff when your sales may be down to take time off, but you have to, otherwise your staff's gonna get burnt out. And then you're in a bad spot because you have unhappy workers.
Yep.
Outside of that, you know, I do have quite a few resources here that we've shared with everybody. And you're able to scan, if I can get my slide to switch. So these are quite a few resources that talk a lot about this. So a lot of this is from Staffing Hub, as well as some documents that we put up. So the 2020 State of Staffing was one of the ones I got some of the stats from. They had over 300 staffing executives that helped fill out the survey. The next one is a one that was on my HubSpot that was how COVID-19 is impacting sales and marketing. And I'll share all of these. I have a QR code you can scan after. And then the next one's 101 texting templates. So like I said, we sent 27 million texts last year. We're on a run rate to send almost 500 million this year. So, you know, we know what messages are successful for sales and recruiting professionals. And we have 101 templates there they can use. The other ones here you can see are just some key sales statistics to use through this time. How to be more productive if you're using a Bullhorn, for example, one of the CRMs we work with, or Salesforce. And then just how hospital systems have changed. So a big one there on the COVID-19 one is the one with Ochsner Health. You know, we work with them and HCA hospitals, and it's how are they changing the way they communicate? Like I said, those check-ins. So again, you're welcome to go all these. You can I'll share this presentation out afterwards with the